Recording
Hello,
in
everybody,
progress.
and welcome to the 12th, 13th. I
Uh,
lost count. Oh well.
Who
12th or
gives a fuck?
13th episode of Elder Zoomers Gaming Guild podcast. Have the usual suspects with me here today. Boys, how are we doing this fine evening?
I'm tired.
Doing good. Doing good.
On this
couldn't be
fine
doing
Star
better.
Wars evening.
Yeah, may the
Themed
fourth
evening.
be with you, my nerds.
I don't know. I feel like the fourth really was with me today.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth was with me today.
Hey, there you go. all in that
We
in
have
that
gathered here today.
um Okay, so first things first. So I know
Marriage.
we've been hearing some interesting talks with Microsoft and Sony about the future of ads in video games.
Mm-hmm.
This can go one of many different ways. Nico, I know you have some interesting thoughts about this, and I would love for you to kind of take us right into this.
Yeah. So if y'all haven't heard, apparently Sony and Microsoft have both come out saying they're looking into more ways to monetize. They're looking into getting ads into games. So
Exactly what
that's
everyone
fun.
needed and wanted.
Mhm. Oh yeah, we all wanted
Everything I
this,
needed.
obviously.
But yeah, couldn't have asked for it better myself. We need more ways to monetize games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, y'all know my thoughts on how they've got fucking entire departments for monetization that have never touched a video game in their life, and that pisses me off.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if I can re-summon the passion of my annoyance earlier
do
when we
your
were
best.
talking about this,
I'll
but
jump in as well.
I think that don't force it. Just let it erupt.
Oh, fun, yeah. Well, something that I realized earlier today when we were talking about this that I just hadn't made the connection yet before is just gaming in general has been trending toward just following mobile games, just in general. I mean, we've seen the boom in microtransactions over the last few years. That wasn't really a thing. I mean, free to play games, some things here and there, but it wasn't in our major AAA games. Like Elden Ring is a shock that there wasn't any microtransactions of any kind whatsoever.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a shock. But that's just the new world we're living in now. And I don't know how we didn't see this sooner. Mobile games have been having ads in their games forever. It's like, it seems like the natural next step of following that trend. Anything that makes them money, like insane amounts of money, they're just going to follow. They're going to find a way to implement it into all of our other games.
Yeah.
And I mean, Garrett, you've talked about this before. Like some ads you've seen is like, old Spider-Man games, like a billboard says Coca-Cola or some shit.
Yeah,
and I guess I haven't seen this personally, but apparently some free-to-play games have like
start can I just say like there's you can actually the Spider-Man games are a perfect example of this. You can actually find, if you go into games that you thought had like lost support or whatever, sometimes you will find that they'll throw in ads for new movies coming out, stuff like that, like just these little subtle. I noticed that with I think it was the Amazing Spider-Man, the first Amazing Spider-Man game. I noticed that, like, I went back and played it, and not recently, but like a while ago when I think the Rock was coming out with a new movie, and there were ads in the game for that movie that had come out 4 years after the game had like lost support or whatever, and it's just
that's crazy.
They pull something from it.
Also, licensing deals expire too, so sometimes billboards that were in old games, they'll be swapped out for something else because now this company is paying them have their ad in their game. So it's interesting how stuff like that changes. And even like, if you play a racing game, like you might see on the track like an ad for McDonald's or something. You get, and part of it does make it feel more real, because when you watch, I don't personally watch a lot of NASCAR, but if you've ever seen those racetracks, they've got banners all over with advertising.
Oh, dude, life is filled with ads. Like that's the thing. Is like
ad revenue is huge.
I don't necessarily think that ads in games like that is a problem. If anything, I think it's kind of interesting to see the update. Like, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What I have a problem with is when the ad interrupts the flow of the gaming experience. Like, And honestly, I think a good example of that for me, where it's like right on that kind of teetering fence, that teetering cusp or fence or whatever, is with Halo Infinite, with like the having a Butterfinger Spartan skin. Something about that just like it makes the game disingenuous.
Yeah, I mean, and that does technically count when you think about it. I mean, you buy what was it, Rockstar energy drink or whatever, and then you got then you got different Halo skins.
Well,
I mean,
the thing with that though was it was just the colors. It was a really dope black and gold skin that if you knew about it, it's like, yeah, that looks like Rockstar, but it wasn't like logoed or anything.
Yeah, that's true, and that's more just paid partnerships outside of the game itself.
Again, that's fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, well, and you have to think, I mean, ad revenue is important. I mean, so many YouTubers make a lot of their money through
really? I thought YouTubers in general just don't make any money off ads. That's why they have to have like their own. Well, like
they have, you'll be watching a YouTube video and it'll be like, this video was sponsored by.
I thought you meant like AdSense. I thought you meant like AdSense from like the YouTube actually paying.
Yeah. Oh no! Like sponsor ads.
Yes. Okay. Like sponsorship. It's a similar thing. This person is paying this YouTuber to mention their product in their video. So if you're watching their video, then you're gonna hear about this product. I mean, it's a very similar thing. It's not technically gaming, but I mean, we see the way advertisements kind of sneak their way into games all the time. Now, for me personally, with free-to-play games, having ads is okay, so long as it's confined to things like the main menu, maybe a loading screen, but not like I don't want to be playing a game and then get interrupted by an ad like while I'm playing it.
Did you guys see that fucking animation of like a guy playing Elden Ring? And then he was fighting Renala and like he's just about to beat her. And then a fucking ad pops up and plays. And then comes back and he just like gets killed by her.
Oh my gosh. No, I didn't.
That's the funniest shit.
What happened. I'm sorry. If I had that happen to me, I would uninstall the game. I would never play it again.
100%. I feel like it's some kind of shit that Ubisoft might pull.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Sorry to call out a fucking
Ubisoft Montreal.
Sorry to call it a specific fucking, publisher, developer, whatever, but like, guys, fucking horse skins in Assassin's Creed, come on. That is a single player game, motherfuckers.
Yes,
anyway.
That's true. However, those microtransactions are completely optional, and you do get a lot of other skins in the game itself. I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Then there's also... Okay, anyway. They also throttled the experience for a while to like push you to buy the double XP shit and double resource things.
Oh yeah, okay, that I will agree with you there. Yeah, that was bad.
I think they changed it now, but like damage is done, dude.
Yeah, for me, like when I played Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like I launched right into the game, just started playing. I never even looked at the store until way later, and I was like, oh, you can like buy other stuff, like, oh, that's cool. But I never personally felt like, oh, this game probably has microtransactions, let me go see what's in the store, like, because you get so much stuff from the game, it's like you just kind of it doesn't jump out at you.
It shouldn't be there,
I guess. But no, I agree, it doesn't need to be there. It doesn't need to be. I mean, you already paid for the game. Most people that are playing Assassin's Creed are playing it as a single player game. It's not co-op or multiplayer, as far as I know. I don't think it is. Does Valhalla have multiplayer?
I haven't played it, honestly.
I don't even know. I remember like
I haven't played it.
The last Assassin's Creed multiplayer I remember was Assassin's Creed 3.
2. Oh, yeah. I forgot it stayed there for a little while.
Yeah.
Do you remember Assassin's Creed Brotherhood's multiplayer?
Yes.
It was wild.
That was wild, and I think there's a reason why it hasn't existed since.
Y'all, I remember sitting on a fucking bus in like elementary school or some shit, and someone was looking through like a Game Informer magazine, pointing out like, "Oh my god, we have all these different like a variety of weapons coming out when Assassin's Creed 2 launches." And I'm like,
that was me.
That was you?
That was fucking me. I remember I had a Game Informer, and we were reading about it, and I was like, "Wait a minute, you can swim." Like
the pole arm.
You can pick up a pole arm and drop it at some point. Yeah, like I remember that we were going to the tech museum or something.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That was me. That's so funny. Oh my god, you just like ripped that memory straight from my skull. I know exactly what we did after that. Like I remember finding it was like a fushigi or like something like that, and like at the museum, I was like, "Whoa, fushigi!"
We are the elder Zoomers for a reason, right?
Fuck. Yeah, we are the elder.
We're still Gen Zs, but we remember the old days of like early 3D video games and all that.
We're still edgy. We were
that is the generation cutoff. When you remember 9/11, that's millennial. When you don't, that's Gen Z, or at least that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but I remember 9/11.
I do too.
I mean, each I guess it just depends on your experience. So let's go ahead. Well, okay, hold on. First off, any final thoughts about ads in games? I'll give my quick summary real quick. My whole thing is, as long as it doesn't interrupt the game while I'm playing it, like when ads get to that point, I will pay whatever money it takes to not have that happen. Especially if it's a game I really like. But
don't say that. They will take that and fucking run with it. You know they will.
They will. They'll be like, "Hey, here's all these. Here's
they're gonna go with the Hulu model,
but you can pay to get rid of them." And then you're like, "Fuck."
You know what? I take it back. I'll just stop gaming at that point.
Ad blocker.
Right. I'll go buy a book. They can't put ads in my book.
I will stop gaming until ad blockers work on games.
Yeah.
Guys, did you know that books were trending towards mobile games? No.
Oh gosh, can you imagine like ebooks, like Kindles and stuff, having ads while you're reading the book?
Oh,
I've never used a Kindle, or I haven't.
I haven't either.
Years.
I've used like Apple Books.
Oh,
I've read books on Apple Books, and there's no ads or anything like that.
Well, that's good.
Thank God.
I would hope not. Dear Lord.
Awful.
So
I guess my final thoughts are like,
Oh no, sorry. Go ahead.
I guess my final thoughts are like, I don't care if they're unintrusive. I'm gonna fight against any kind of like further monetization because I just fucking hate all of it. I don't give a shit. I don't care if it's like unobtrusive. I don't care if it's like you don't have to interact with it. It's like purely cosmetic. I just fucking hate all of it. I paid for the game. I should get all of it. I'm old school, I guess.
I agree with that. The only instance that these are my final thoughts. I think I like this idea of us all doing our final thoughts at the end of the topic. We each get one last little bit. My final thoughts are, I agree with that, but I think where that stops is when it comes to like billboards popping up in a game, because like that to me is so like that it doesn't interrupt the flow of the game.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's not robbing me of any content of the game. Like it does not alter the content of the games enough for it to be robbing me of an experience. But anything more than that, I don't like it for two reasons, and that's because it makes the game disingenuous. It makes the experience of the game disingenuous. However, already disingenuous the game experience is, it's just going to make it worse. So if it's a really genuine game that's like trying to come across as immersive, and then you get an ad thrown in there for something that like interrupts the experience or like blocks you from doing something, it's going to ruin it for me.
You realize that the immersion thing only works in like GTA or Spider-Man or something that takes place in our real world.
Yeah, like
that's true. Like you can't.
The vast majority of games that would not work in.
You can't. So I do realize that, and that's why like I'm saying that's the thin example of like where it's okay. Everything else to me is not okay. Like skins in a game that are branded to be like a fucking brand. It's gross to me now.
Can you imagine
if I'm playing a game, I'm playing.
And sorry, go ahead. Imagine playing Skyrim and like a horse like carriage walks by and there's like Coca-Cola on the
or like carriage. A McDonald's label or something. Like I'd uninstall. I'd fucking uninstall. I'd never buy one of their games again. That would be so insulting. I'd get a really good laugh out of it, and then I'd be like, okay, bye.
And then I'd uninstall.
Yeah, and then beyond that, you've got the nasty shit of like having the flow of the game interrupted. Possibly like having literally an ad pop up that you have to exit out of in your experience. It ruined it. And honestly, I don't think that would be smart. Everybody knows that ads that just like throw themselves in front of your face and interrupt an experience are like, I don't care who you are, marketing 101, that's not how you sell a fucking product. That's just how you flood.
It makes me less likely to buy it if I'm honest.
It's exactly what I'm saying. Like, that makes me less likely to buy that product because I'm going to associate it with the interruption of my ideal experience. Right?
It's funny. I'm like scrolling Instagram and I'll be like, just scrolling through it quick. I'll see an ad for like McDonald's, be like, I can go for McDonald's today. But it's just like a passing thought as I'm going through.
Exactly.
Like
because it's not fucking
I'm watching YouTube and it's like cutting in like, oh, hey, we got a new thing at Wendy's. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I was in the middle of something.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Yeah, no.
My calculator on my work iPad has ads.
What?
I think that's really interesting. Yep. The calculator app on my work iPad, anytime I open my calculator app, an ad will pop up that like blocks me from using it, and I have to exit out of it.
I can tell you why that is. That's because Apple never actually made a calculator app for the iPad. So that app is actually a third-party app, which is probably free, hence the reason it has ads.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I get like an ad for like a steakhouse popping up on my calculator app in the middle of a session. And I thought, well, that's the thing is, I'm like, I don't want this right now. I'm doing work. I'm trying to add something up. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
But anyway,
pen and paper it is, bitch. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Ads can either be, this whole thing can either go in the direction that it's been going, which is just like, okay, they sneak it in, it's implemented, but it's not obtrusive, or it can get more obtrusive and just get worse. Obviously, we're hoping for the former, but you never know.
At this point, I'm so cynical. It's like, I know same. Slippery slope is a fallacy, but like, look at the fucking evidence. Look at how it's been going.
That's the thing, man.
It's just the next logical.
And there's a difference between a fallacious idea of slippery slope and looking at the evidence of like the actual apathetic corporatization of gaming. Like, that is a trend. There's a difference between a downward trend and like a cynical view on something, right? I think the proof is in the pudding here that gaming has been on a downward trend of corporate apathetic gaming. Studios that just have no connection to the people that they're making a game for. They're just making a game that hits the trend aspects of like, well, they're gonna like this, they're gonna like this, they're gonna like this, they're gonna like that, and so we'll spit it out and it's gonna make us a bunch of money, rather than like, ideally, we're gamers, we're making the game that we would want to make, here you go, or that we would want to play, here you go, fellow gamers. Like, we've strayed so far away from that in terms of obviously it's always going to be there. There's always going to be a game studio that has a genuine connection to its like gamers.
It's always the indie people at this point. The guys that are starting out.
It is.
Oh yeah,
always the indie people.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That's very true. I'm gonna go ahead and jump to the next topic here. That was great, by the way. We got a lot more out of that than I thought we would.
Thanks.
So moving on. So I was telling you guys earlier about how the Embracer Group acquired Eidos, Crystal Dynamics, and Square Enix Montreal for only $300 million, which, in my opinion, is like they got that for a bargain. Like that's a lot of devs. I think it was over 1,000 employees between those studios. I mean, that's a lot of manpower. Those studios have put out some great games. Tomb Raider. They did Deus Ex: Human Revolution and Mankind Divided. They did the Thief games, and this leads me to, obviously, Microsoft probably didn't jump in on that because they're still going through the Activision, deal right now. But what do you guys? So I wanted to ask you guys, what exactly do you think this does for gaming in general, having these smaller studios being purchased by larger ones? And also, which developer or studio do you think could possibly be purchased next?
Do you mind if I say the first thing that comes to my mind?
Go for it.
I think it's directly tied to what I was just saying about like the corporate apathetic environment that gets created. I think anytime you are putting out a product and a really big studio, whatever it is, for whatever product it is, ends up buying the little guy, chances are the little guy's habit patterns and belief systems about how they interact with their consumer isn't gonna color much of like the bigger entity that ended up like assimilating, right? Like
it's always gonna be the other way around.
Or you were thinking it'd be the other way around.
No, I said it's always going to be the other way around, where the big corporate's going to influence the little guy to make games.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly. Like I just that's the first thing that comes to my mind is like it thins the habitat space of those indie studios that are willing to put out games that are like actually genuine in their intentions, right?
Because now they have kind of a larger company looking over them.
Exactly, pushing their values, pushing the manpower and the financial power that they hold over that younger, littler studio. It's great for the people who are in the studio, the little studio, because like they get the stability of being a part of that bigger company, probably better pay, stuff like that. Like it's awesome for their livelihoods, hopefully. But I think the downside is like the possibility of like negative creative influence from that larger studio. Difficulty creating the game that like they wanted to initially create. Pressure to like, okay, well, do we conform or do we non-conform? Sure.
Some serious audio issues right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not even every other word. I can't hear anything at all.
Oh, fuck. Hold up. Here, go ahead and work on that, Nico. We'll keep talking so you can test the audio. Peyton, I completely agree with what you're saying. And that does happen. And a lot of times, larger companies will take these smaller devs and they'll have them work on something that they were already, working on. Like, okay, we're gonna take this studio that was making this game, no, you guys are now going to work on, we've been working on this game, we need more people, we're going to move you over to this. So now, now they're doing something, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, if you don't want to work on that thing, you might, that developer might be able to say, I don't want to move, switch over to this project. But I don't know if they get a say, and that might change depending on, who's running the show. I have heard, I don't have firsthand experience with this, obviously this is only word of mouth, but I've heard that Microsoft is pretty hands off with a lot of their developers. So like with Bethesda, they're like, hey, they were working on Starfield when Microsoft acquired Bethesda, and they just said, hey, you guys just keep making Starfield. And just kind of left it alone. You guys just do your thing. But now
here's some extra money, make it better. We'll get an exclusive out of you later.
That's how it should be. It should be.
I mean, that's the ideal situation, right? These developers just get more money to make their games better and get to make their dreams more realized. That's the hope. But then at the same time, you also have this monopoly that's building. And that's part of what a lot of things that have been said, not in the court, but surrounding the court about the Microsoft and Activision deal is that, well, I mean, Xbox is going to get so many games. I mean, Call of Duty, Diablo, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. I mean, it's like all of these games, and it's like, yeah, that's a lot. And for some of those, Microsoft has said, yeah, we're going to keep a multi-plat. And they've also said, games like Starfield's not coming to PlayStation. It's a Bethesda game, and you're not going to be able to play on your PlayStation. I mean, that's big,
It is big. That's big.
People and Elder Scrolls 6 could be the same way. It could very well be the same way, where you won't be able to play that on your PlayStation. Yeah. And that's a big deal. So
I had not thought about that. Oh my God, wait.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, it's something that makes you think, like, now Elder Scrolls isn't confirmed, obviously. That's just a theory, but given Starfield is exclusive, it's possible. It's in the realm of possibility. So for me, it's like, well, and third-party deals happen too. You look at Sony, like they paid Square Enix money to keep Final Fantasy VII Remake off of the other consoles. It was, only on PlayStation. But it's like, Microsoft doesn't even have to do that now because they just own those studios and they can just do what they want. So, I mean, what do you guys think that this could be a thing where all these smaller studios just get eaten up, and then we have this, this problem with too much control under one company or one.
I think that's inevitable
too. It's not just
I think
Microsoft.
That's inevitable because it's a market, right? Like in any market, you're going to have like a skewed distribution of power allocated towards big companies, and that influence causing big companies to eat up those littler companies. Like at a certain point, you join or you die. And I think that you don't necessarily have to be an official monopoly to completely control a market, right? In fact, it's sometimes better to like leave a couple competitors out there so that the spotlight isn't entirely on you, right? Like oil companies or something like that. Like there's not just one oil company, but Shell might as well be a monopoly with how powerful they are. And I think the gaming companies, that's definitely, if not the case right now, moving to be the case with the bigger names. And so I think that I don't think it's good. I don't think it's a good thing to happen at all. But
no, I
think it's going to be interesting to see what ends up getting put out, and like at what point the consumers will say enough is enough, or if that is ever even a possibility. Which
I don't think we have the power to do that. Honestly,
I don't think we do. No. I agree with you, Nico. I don't think that we have the power to do that.
No, that's up to the big companies and their even bigger wallets. They want to buy, but it is also up to developers who want to be sold. And I actually heard, don't know if this is true, but I heard that Ubisoft was looking to be acquired by someone, and that would be a lot of money because Ubisoft has a lot of big properties. I mean, they have Ghost Recon, they have Assassin's Creed, they have Rainbow Six. I mean, they have a lot. Ubisoft has a lot of IPs. So I don't even know if Sony could buy them. I mean, maybe. I don't know if they have the budget for it though. Microsoft does, but Microsoft wouldn't be able to do that anytime soon. So I mean, I don't know. And it doesn't have to be, just because I heard of Ubisoft. I mean, do you guys think that there's another studio that could possibly be purchased sometime within the next couple of years? Because we've already seen so many moves. I mean, Bethesda, Activision, now we had all those. Which one?
FromSoft.
Oh yeah,
I was wondering about that.
Unfortunately,
it's exactly what I was wondering about.
Getting bought.
I've actually looked into this just out of sheer curiosity. FromSoft is they come in a package deal with Bandai Namco and another developer, which is actually owned by a different corporation. I don't remember the name. But that they would be very expensive. They would be, because Bandai Namco is also very huge.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna actually Google that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on these are just I can understand from the perspective of the developers getting bought. There's so many benefits to doing this, right?
Oh yeah.
It's a mutually like beneficial relationship, right? Or it can be, and it probably will be for most cases. But monopolization is never a good thing, because at the end of the day, it just leaves way too much control in one entity,
and there's not that healthy competition that keeps consumers at the forefront of the more competition that's in a market, hopefully, and this is usually the case, but the more competition that's in a market, the more the more of a focus is put on the consumers' wants, because the consumers are going to be the ones that dictate where the money is going. If you're the only provider, you can put out whatever the fuck you want, and you can riddle
do whatever
the fuck you want. You can do whatever you want, and people will pay, because at the end of the day, people still want that service. There's no choice. So,
no, that's very true. So it says here that FromSoft is a subsidiary of Kadokawa Corporation. I've never heard of that.
That rings a bell.
Probably
Why does that name ring a bell?
And I'm probably not pronouncing that right. So I think both of those maybe are owned by Bandai Namco or something flip-flopped. I'm not entirely sure about that, but some people have looked into, oh man, I wonder if FromSoft's going to be purchased. And then I looked into it and I was like, they would have to also own that Kadokawa and Bandai Namco, and that would be a lot. That would be a very big purchase. Not like Activision, but up there. So that wouldn't be a small purchase. So I don't know, but I could see them being purchased though. And Sony has already done third-party deals with them. I mean, they did Demon Souls was the original, was a third-party deal, and then because Sony owns Bluepoint, they then did the Demon Souls remake, which was another, I mean, the same Souls game, but technically a new game.
Bloodborne.
For PlayStation and Bloodborne. Yeah. So, I mean, Sony has already made third-party deals with them just to keep those games off of Xbox and try to make the PlayStation console the, like, Souls console to get. Hey, you like Souls games? Then this is the console you get. You know, so it's a strategy, and it has worked for them. I know several people, and Nico, you might be one of them. People who bought a PlayStation just to play Bloodborne because they love Souls games. I mean, it works.
Along with other games, I wanted to play Last of Us, Until Dawn.
Me too.
Things, Horizon.
Me too. Exclusives are why I bought a PlayStation, and that's why a lot of people buy a lot of different consoles. Same reason I bought a Switch was so I could play Zelda.
Breath of the Wild was pretty great.
Yeah. So I mean, it's, and that competition is healthy. I'm surprised that it has lasted this long because, Sega's last console was the Dreamcast, and after that they kind of
wild to think about.
Yeah. What was that?
It's wild to think about that Sega made the Dreamcast. Yeah. Like that's so long ago, and that's so singular of a console that it's just weird to think about.
Yeah, and I didn't know this before, but the Dreamcast actually ran a modified version of Windows. So in a way, the Dreamcast was kind of like an early prototype of the Xbox. But now you have Microsoft and Xbox, you have Sony and PlayStation, and then you have Nintendo. They're kind of the three biggest competitors, and it's been that way for about 20 years.
Yeah.
And
all their other competition's gone.
Yeah, I mean, other companies have tried to break into it. Google has Stadia.
I'd say like maybe like Oculus, but they're not really. They're not a console like the other ones are.
They're not a competition though. They're just kind of there.
Exactly. They're like an highly
VR
sought
is still
after
kind of a niche thing. I feel like at this point, like a good group of gamers have VR, but not all of them. So, Oculus and Oculus, I would say, is easily like the biggest when I think of VR, I think of Oculus. That's what I think of. And that's their space right now. But that's very true. They could change. They could Facebook and Meta, all that, they could move into gaming as well. Then you also have Amazon. They're doing the same thing as Google with their cloud streaming, which I've never really been a fan of.
And their devices, like they've done a lot with the Amazon Fire Stick.
Yeah,
all of that.
Echo. Amazon is
trying to break it in
because Amazon has so many devices that they're like, well, so many people own at least one Amazon device, then and Amazon's also a very reputable company, so other companies are trying to break into gaming, and maybe it won't always just be Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. It's very possible that could change, but all three of them have really solidified themselves in this market, and I personally don't see that changing anytime soon, but I mean, you never know.
Imagine Stadia or like the Steam Deck having like an exclusive. It's like a AAA, like really good. Imagine that.
I mean, Amazon's already they've already created games. I mean, they're not exclusive to any platform, but
and they've also died off.
Yeah. What was
how many people still play New World? What is the
New World? Yeah, that was I think.
How many people are still playing that? Because everyone
I don't know.
Talked to and heard about, like they're kind of
done big for like a week, and then I feel like it kind of just died off.
It's like trivia crack.
Yeah, that shit's still great.
I never really played it, to be honest. But
I loved Trivia Crack
5-10 years ago. I don't know how long ago.
Yeah, it was big back then. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think. I mean, one, how Microsoft broke into gaming, and because they were the new kids on the block compared to Nintendo and Sony. But now they've solidified themselves so much, and they're clearly devoted to gaming. Microsoft is devoted to it. Look at all the money they're throwing around. Yeah. I mean, $69 billion. Yeah, you don't throw that kind of money around and not.
It's not a number I can even quantify. Yeah, it's hard to conceptualize. Yeah, $69 billion being transacted.
Funny. Yeah, right. Do you guys have any final thoughts on that subject? We're kind of rounding out the end here. Well, anyways, guys, hey, I think we covered some great topics, and thanks for sitting and chatting with me.
Always fucking blast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the show here.
Let's do it. Good episode.
Peace out. Oh yeah, absolutely.